Belief in life after death is humanity's oldest spiritual conviction. Across civilizations and eras, humans have shared a profound intuition that our physical end isn't the final chapter. This idea carries tangible psychological weight. Individuals who hold it often report lower levels of death anxiety, using the prospect of an afterlife to process the heavy grief of losing a spouse or loved one. Looking at this map of past research reveals a major blind spot. For decades, our scientific understanding was strictly localized. Data was drawn almost exclusively from Western Christian populations, leaving the rest of human experience unmapped. This map finally filled in with the Global Flourishing Study. Researchers compiled data from over 200,000 individuals across 22 diverse nations, giving a truly global look at human spirituality. To figure out exactly what creates an adult's belief in the afterlife, the research team analyzed 13 specific childhood variables simultaneously. They looked at everything from early health and household income to family dynamics, running all these factors against each other to isolate the real drivers of belief. By running 200,000 lifetimes through this massive data sieve, the results revealed a clear pattern. The conviction that we live on after we die is a measurable architecture built by specific experiences we have when we are young. When researchers sifted through all 13 factors, one variable stood out as the most consistent statistical predictor of adult belief: attending religious services at age 12. If a child visited a church, mosque, or temple at least once a week, they were significantly more likely to carry afterlife beliefs into adulthood. But this split comparison bar chart reveals an unexpected statistical twist. In secular nations, the power of childhood attendance to secure lifelong belief is significantly stronger than it is in deeply religious countries. We see this secular effect most intensely in countries like Japan and Sweden. In these low-religion cultural environments, the habit of weekly childhood worship creates a far stronger statistical anchor for adult beliefs than the exact same behavior does in highly religious countries like Kenya or Nigeria. To explain this paradox, psychologists point to a concept known as credibility-enhancing displays. When a child watches their parents invest time and energy into practicing a religion in a culture that doesn't expect or demand it, the commitment appears authentic. Because the behavior stands out against the cultural grain, the child perceives it as sincere and worth adopting. Lifelong belief anchors in the child's perception of parental sincerity. The mere repetition of visiting a religious building is secondary to whether the child witnesses that faith practiced as a genuine commitment. The data sieve also isolated much darker variables: individuals who experienced childhood abuse, or who grew up feeling like an outsider in their own family. The data revealed a counterintuitive reality. These intensely negative early life experiences increase the statistical likelihood that a person will believe in an afterlife when they reach adulthood. Researchers explain this connection through a psychological process called meaning-making, where trauma pushes human beings to seek an ideological commitment that helps them process their experience. When the physical world violates a child's dignity and denies them justice, their mind constructs a psychological buffer. They seek ultimate justice in a realm beyond this one, finding hope in a conviction that true resolution occurs after death. For a significant portion of the global population, belief in heaven or reincarnation acts as a vital psychological shield. It is a survival mechanism built specifically to process early pain. Filtering the data set for demographic trends uncovers further trends. Women show a higher statistical likelihood of holding afterlife beliefs than men, a difference that becomes especially pronounced in secular environments. Then we have to account for time. This line graph plots age against belief. The data forms a distinct inverted U-shape, showing that afterlife belief climbs steadily as people get older, peaking right around the ages of 60 to 70. This late peak aligns with a psychological phenomenon called gerotranscendence, where spiritual concerns naturally deepen as we enter the later stages of adulthood. Because the study controlled for religious attendance, we know this age effect operates independently of weekly worship. The aging mind turns toward afterlife beliefs as a psychological buffer against the innate fear of mortality. Our spiritual worldview is a dynamic tool. It evolves and adapts across our lifespan to help us navigate changing existential threats. This web of factors proves that anticipating an afterlife is a learned environmental response rather than an automatic cultural setting. Instead, the data isolated three specific pillars of faith: the credibility of parental commitment, the psychological survival of trauma, and the existential weight of the aging process. These numbers demonstrate that our deepest spiritual convictions are forged by how we navigated and survived our earliest, most formative environments. This remains true regardless of the specific global tradition a person follows, whether they envision a Christian heaven, a Hindu reincarnation, or simply a general continuation of the spirit. Our vision of what happens at the very end of our lives is tied to what happened to us at the very beginning. The human concept of eternity is a measurable cytological architecture built across a lifetime to help us make sense of our existence.